This is the Big Nasty. Yeah, Big Nasty, Hall of Fame Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby.
This is Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Cannon Fire Podcast.
Cannon Fire Podcast, brother. You ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Back at you today for episode 140. The Buccaneers are 5-2 over their first 7 weeks of football. They go into the desert. They square off against their former head coach, John Gruden, and his new Raiders team. And for the second week in a row, they just absolutely mollywop somebody. 45-20, your final score in that game. I am so excited. There is so much big news. Obviously, the Bucs won, which is obviously a great feeling. Happy Victory Monday, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, you've got the Antonio Brown signing. We've had a couple of days to think about that. You got the defense playing like the best in the league. There is so much to be excited about, and with that being said, let's get this thing underway. I am your host, Rhett Matthew, joined alongside me as always, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. First place in the NFC South for another week in a row, my friend. Happy Victory Monday.
Yeah, and obviously the goal is to sort of stay there, so the lucky part for the Bucs, the advantage that they have is that the Saints have already had their bye week and the Bucs haven't. So if the Saints keep winning, it really doesn't matter as long as the Bucs do. The Bucs will stay in first place, and obviously there's a big matchup coming up there between the two teams. But I don't know if the Bucs have ever been in first place this late in the season. At least not for a long time. So it's been a while since they've been in first place this late into a season. And by now you're normally, like the past 10 years or so, you've been kind of on the fringe of, if they win this game, they can make some noise. But if they lose this game, then it's time for the draft, right?
Let's be honest. Normally by mid-October, most Buc fans are firing up the mock draft machine. I hate to say it, but things are definitely changing, and 5-2 is a welcome feeling.
I'm not gonna lie, I still do the mock draft machine. So
yeah, dude, it's
I love it. It's great. If I just love the draft. So yeah, the Bucs have been picking around like 29 or so. So it's been a little bit of adjustment not being in the top 15. I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but I've been having some fun with the mock draft. I've been doing a bunch of different scenarios, so it's been fun. And like you said, yeah, the Bucs are 5-2. It was so the game. It's going to show up as a 25-point win, but it wasn't actually like it was closer than that. Like they scored 14 points when the game was essentially over. As soon as that Chris Godwin touchdown happened to make it 31-20, I thought the game was over. And then Antoine Winfield just sort of put the icing on the cake. But I mean, yeah, once that touchdown happened, they went up 11. The game was pretty much over. So yeah, you could say, oh man, they just blew that team out. Well, yeah, but it's kind of deceiving. The Raiders definitely hung in there for a good bit, and they're a team that fights hard, and I think they could compete for a wild card spot in the AFC.
Oh, absolutely. I still think Vegas has a pretty good team, and they're going to be swinging with some of the big guys later on this year. But before we get into the rest of the game, a lot of pressure on Tampa as a whole. The World Series are going on right now. Game 6 is Tuesday night. The Rays are down 3-2. And listen, I'm not going to swing anybody one way or the other, but if you're trying to make some money on the game, I'll tell you the best place to do it responsibly is with our friends at betonline.ag. From game spreads and totals to team, player, and coaching props, BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. And of course, as I say every single week, they've got the online casino, which I am so scared to spend my money at because, I just don't like how that goes for me. But The good thing about it is that if I'm ever up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I want to give it a try, it never closes. So head over to betonline.ag today. Make sure you take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. Once again, betonline.ag, your online sportsbook expert.
Also, if you wanted to check out this week's games, so Kansas City is currently opened up as a 19.5-point favorite versus the Jets. That is a ton of points. So if you want to take them points, or if you think the Jets will put up a fight, maybe you're picking the Jets. But yeah, that's definitely the place to do it. And who knows? Maybe the Jets can. I mean, 19.5 points. That's a lot of points. I mean, like that is a lot of points. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of bettors will be keeping their eye on.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys go check it out, betonline.ag. But with that being said, let's get into this game. A victory for the boys in Pewter, led by TB12 himself, Tom Brady. His stat line looked like this: 33 for 45, 369 yards, 5 total touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown in the first score of the game for the Bucs, which I missed, ironically, which is why I kind of had to think about it, because my TV decided to just not work that drive. Like, we used the YouTube TV, and it just kind of crapped out on me, and I had to restart the whole thing 2 or 3 times before I got the game clearly. But Tom Brady sticking his nose in the end zone once again. Listen, Brady's playing damn well. The MVP conversations have started. Call me the eternal optimist. I know that you're the realest guy, I think, on any Bucs pod, because nothing ever pleases you. But is it too early to start it? Like me personally, I think we need to see, expecting a good game against New York, but we talked about it before the show. I need to see him beat New Orleans in convincing fashion to really jump on this MVP train, especially just at this time of the season. Point at the TB12 hat for our audio listeners.
Of course. So, yeah, he's just been playing elite football. And I say elite. His game versus Vegas, that was the best game in a Bucs uniform. Every throw. I mean, he missed, I think, 2 or 3. He missed that first one to Gronk. But he missed one to Scotty. He missed maybe a one to Evans or so. But other than that, I mean, I didn't find a single flaw. Put the ball in perfect spots all day, really, to multiple different receivers, and the tight ends, the running backs. He was just in sync. And I mean, this offense is really starting to get into a rhythm, and you're starting to see it. I think it really relies on Gronkowski, I think, because you can see when this offense is getting into a rhythm because Gronkowski is. They got Gronkowski involved early, and he had that nice touchdown catch. So he's starting to really get his groove, and he's starting to sort of look like the Gronk of old. So just a fantastic game from Brady, and I thought his deep ball looked good. That one to Scotty Miller, everybody that says that you can't throw the ball deep can go shove it up there, because just look at that pass. I mean, that is a rainbow.
That was throw of the year.
Yeah, and that is just perfectly placed, and it couldn't have been any better. He played a great football game, and I thought it was a good play calling game as well. I thought they utilized the play action a lot. I mean, that final 2-minute drive before the half, it was just masterful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, this was. Yeah, I mean, this was his best game as a Buccaneer, and he's getting hot. He's getting hot at the right time, and I do agree with you that right now he's in that conversation. He's starting to get his name mentioned with MVP more, right? Russell Wilson just threw 3 interceptions on Sunday Night Football. So I believe Russell Wilson has now thrown more interceptions than Tom Brady, because I think Russell Wilson had 2 or 3 interceptions, and now he has whatever, because it's +3. So I don't know Russell Wilson's stats off the top of my head. Sorry. But he's really starting to put his name in that conversation. But I think, like you said, you need to beat the Giants because the Giants is bad, whatever. But then, yeah, you got to beat. I'm not saying maybe beat New Orleans handily, but you have to beat them and you gotta play well. I mean that's a Sunday night football game against the team you're battling for the division with. You beat them and you play well. That'll put you, I think, in the front of the MVP conversation. So good start from Mr. Brady. And actually, a little fun fact. So we had 369 passing yards on Sunday, but that's not as high because it's tied for his high. He had 369 passing yards against the Chargers. So those were his two highs, the exact same. So, it's just a little coincidence. But again, another game with no interceptions, no turnovers. I mean, it's really good. He hasn't had a turnover since that Week 4 game versus the Chargers. And, I mean, that was in, the first quarter, I believe, or early second quarter. So, he's been playing really clean football. He's starting to play with a lot of confidence, and you can really see it.
His past 5 games, 15 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Yeah. Now, one more thing that we need to say about TB12 before we look at the rest of these stat lines. The elephant in the room. He broke the record for the all-time passing touchdowns in NFL history. He surpassed Drew Brees. And I'll tell you what makes this even more exciting is that for the rest of the season, I was hoping it would be like this. For the rest of the season, it's just going to be a race back and forth between these guys.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing posts every week. Oh, congratulations to Drew Brees for breaking the record. The next week, congrats to Tom Brady for breaking the record. Yeah, so, I mean, you could basically say that Tom Brady, if, it happens, 2 or 3 times, you'd be like, oh, he broke 3 records this season. So, and you technically wouldn't be wrong. So, I mean, great thing for him. I think they really wanted that one at the end. That's why they were sort of throwing in that situation. Happy to see it go to TJ.
Oh yeah,
Tyler. I'm a big fan of Tyler Johnson. Obviously, he seems to be coming along good. It's really good, and it makes you wonder: does this team even need Antonio Brown? Because I mean, that I'd say no, and I mean the answer before Sunday was no. But
I think most rational people definitely view it as a luxury.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, they don't technically. I don't even think they need Gronkowski. I think Cameron Braid's serviceable enough, especially when OJ's out there. But OJ got injured, so it's good to have Gronkowski and Braid. Evans and Godwin aren't healthy, 100% at least, so it's good to have AB. But like I said, just great performance from Brady. Hope he can keep it up. Also, second straight week, this offensive line, no sacks. I don't even know if the Raiders sneezed on Brady because it was a clean pocket. He had a clean jersey at the end of that one. I mean, it was a really good job by this offensive line. I know the Raiders don't have a lot of pass rush. I know that was a big problem on their defense, but it was still nice to see. So this is the second straight week with no sacks allowed. Hopefully they can make it the 3 straight against a defensive line in New York that's not the greatest. So, I think that's a key, and a lot of people were wondering before the season how this offensive line hold up, and Tom Brady would get killed. I know Mark Cook said before in January that if Tom Brady came to Tampa, he'd get murdered and he wouldn't last 4 games. Well, the offensive line has really been playing well, and they're a huge reason to the success of this football team and to Tom Brady.
Absolutely, it's a good thing to see, and I'm glad that you brought the offensive line up because, correct me if I'm wrong here, but has Brady been sacked at all since he tore into them on national TV?
Maybe because
I don't remember how the rest of that game played out after that moment.
I don't know. I don't remember because there was still a little bit left in that game, so I don't know. But I think that definitely played a part. You don't want to be ripped into like that. So, I mean, and really, if you think about it, go back, okay, and I'm gonna do this when we're done the show here. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at every sack that the Bucs offensive line has given up, which is 8 sacks, by the way. It's pretty good in NFL ranks. I forget. I think it's top 10. Top 10 meaning good. So New Orleans, there's a few sacks there. It was on the offensive line. Donovan Smith, horrible game. Carolina, I'm not sure if they had a sack. Denver, they had 2 sacks, but both were on Brady. I'm going to put both on Brady. We remember that game. He was holding the ball for a little bit longer than he should have. And then Chargers, I believe, no sacks. And the Bears game, that was bad. But then the Packers, no sacks. And this one, no sacks. This offensive line is playing well. And a lot of people want to give Donovan Smith heck for it. But I mean, he's playing good football right now. Alex Kappa, Ali Marpet. Ali Marpet has been elite this season, and nobody's talking about it. Ryan Jensen has been very good. Tristan Wirfs obviously speaks for himself. I mean, this offensive line is becoming a top 10 unit right now, and nobody's really talking about it because all the accolades are going to Brady. People, looked at New England and said, "Oh yeah, well, obviously Brady is a good offensive line, whatever." And people question Tampa Bay's offensive line, but now that they're showing it, they're not even talking about it as a strength. So I just wanted to put that out there, show a little bit of offensive line love. They're still not the best run blocking, but I don't really think they're not designed to be that way. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass there, but great job by this offensive line, and I'm not sure. I will go back and check that to see if when Brady, because that was that drive that they had like 15 penalties on the same drive. So
that was terrible.
I'll have to go back and see if the Bucs allowed a sack after that, because if they didn't, you can place it solely on Tom Brady. So another reason he should be the MVP, I guess.
And I'm really glad that you brought up the offensive line because, as you said, nobody's really talking about it. People are very quick to say, including myself, when Donovan Smith messes up, it's the most obvious thing. Like, it just, you notice it so much faster than anything else. But people are so quick to just jump on the offensive line, say that they're still questionable, but they have absolutely had a good stretch of games this season. And granted, Thursday Night Football was not great. Week 1 against New Orleans was not great.
That's it.
It's
out of the 7 games, they've had 2 bad ones.
Incorrect.
And I mean, it was two losses. Don't get me wrong. Like, they need to play well to win, but overreaction.
Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong here as well. But Jameis Winston was the most sacked quarterback last year, or top 5?
I believe, if not the most, I believe he was definitely top 5. Some of that was on Jameis, but I mean, a lot of it was just, this offensive line was just not playing great. And obviously, I think a big difference is Tristan Wirfs being over at right tackle instead of DeMar Dotson. I love DeMar as a guy, but he's just, the game, he couldn't hold up anymore. So I think that's a huge upgrade. And I just think, the development of Alex Kappa has continued to help this team. Ryan Jensen still being a top 5, top 3 center, and Ali Marpet playing like one of the best guards in football right now, and Donovan Smith being, dare I say, an average tackle, is leading to this team doing well and beating the teams that they should. The Packers, are the Packers a better team than the Bucs? That's up for debate, right? I think they're very close, but I mean, that's a good defensive line they face in the Packers. A not so good one with the Raiders, but a good one they face with the Packers, and they've allowed 0 sacks in the last 8 quarters of football. I mean, that's just fantastic. And you're going to win a lot of games like that. If you have 0 sacks, 0 turnovers, I bet you win a lot of football games.
Absolutely. Something else about this offense from Sunday. First time in almost a month, the Buccaneers have not had a 100-yard rusher. Crazy, I know. But it leads to a bigger receiving day, so we got a couple of... Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say the reason was they're passing it all over the lot.
Yes. So let's get into some of these stat lines that I've got. A career day for the leading receiver on Sunday, Scooter himself, Scotty Miller, or is that Fox Graphics said Scott Miller? I guess we kind of have to just call him Scott now. Scott Miller, 6 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. And the touchdown pass that we talked about a little bit earlier was that thing of beauty from Tom Brady, right in the breadbasket. Couldn't have been any easier for him to catch that and get the TD. But Tom Brady loves him some Scooter, doesn't he?
He definitely does. And I think a lot of people before this season, looking at you, Stank, they really thought that Miller could break out. And it's because I think you look at Miller and you see a prototypical Tom Brady receiver. Not just because he's a small white guy, but because I mean, just the type of receiver he is, and everybody thought, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. No, like, that's not this dude.
Julian Edelman never see Julian.
No, exactly. Julian Edelman has never run a 33-yard go route. Like, that's not happening. All right, maybe 10 years ago, but not now. So Scotty Miller just has that awesome speed, and it's something that they're really using a lot. And I think it's going to be tough to take him out of the lineup. I mean, really, it is. With Antonio Brown coming in here soon, it's going to be tough to take Scotty Miller out because his snaps are going to be cut. And it's going to be difficult to take him out. But yeah, Tom Brady definitely seems to have a rapport with him. So, I mean, the rapport with him, Godwin, Evans, it's getting there. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but it's getting there. So, yeah, I mean, a really good start for Miller. And I believe currently he is the receiving, I mean, in yards, the leader in receiving yards for the Buccaneers.
Yes, he is this season.
So I mean, on the season, with a team that has Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Scotty Miller is the leading receiver in yards. So
here
I mean,
is the
that's
shakedown on the
fun.
leading receivers for the Bucs after Week 7. Scotty Miller, 22 receptions, 365 yards, only 2 touchdowns. Behind him, you've got Mike Evans with 318 yards and 6 touchdowns. And it's funny
They don't
because
throw to him though.
The way people are talking about it.
Yeah, they don't throw to Mike Evans though.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't exist.
Right. Third place, a little bit surprising here. You've got Rob Gronkowski, 22 receptions, 280 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the season. Number 4, you have got Chris Godwin, which is our next stat line, but for the season, 25 receptions, 279 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let's talk about his game on Sunday really quickly.
Well, you got to put an asterisk next to those stats because he missed a few games. So
absolutely. Let's talk about his game on Sunday. Good bounce back performance for him.
Awesome.
9 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown, like you said, to make it 31-20 and pretty much seal the deal. But a really good bounce back game for Chris Godwin.
Yeah, it was nice to see. He was getting open consistently, and you really started to see the Chris Godwin of old. And then he showed up a little bit last week, but he said himself he wasn't 100% healthy. This week he looked 100% healthy. So you started to see him with a little bit of screens, some curl routes, and then obviously that touchdown where it was sort of an ad lib. I like that play call too. The Bucs rolling out Brady a little bit.
Yeah,
I do like that play call. So let's play.
The hell out of me though.
No. If you're
when
playing
you're
scared money don't make money, buddy.
Oh, there you go.
Just saying.
The next receiver I wanted to talk about was Gronk himself. 5 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. His second of the year. I mean, for the second week in a row, just Gronk is back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's looking damn good out there.
Yeah, I mean, on that fade route, he told the DB he was, it's time to pay the piper, and he took his lunch money on that one. 5'9" Devin Lawson against 6'5" Rob Gronkowski. He was going to win that one. And the ball was decently thrown. It wasn't the perfect ball, but it doesn't really matter.
Gronk's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just right now. He's just they're in a zone, and I love what they're doing with him. It seems like now at first they were sort of just letting him get his feet wet. And I think that not having a preseason, I think that hurt Gronkowski, I think, maybe more than Brady, because, I think this dude hasn't played football in over a year. And not having a preseason, having to go in right away. So, I mean, he doesn't have a great game against New Orleans, doesn't have a great game against Carolina, shows up a little bit against Denver. Kind of, he has that one catch against L.A., shows up a little bit in Chicago, gets his first touchdown last week, then gets his second touchdown this week, and has his best game as a Buccaneer, I think, this week. But yeah, I mean, just you can tell they're those two, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, are starting to heat up, and it looked like the old New England days. And I think the Bucs have really shifted their offense, especially once OJ went down. I think once OJ went down, the Bucs really shifted their offense to more of a New England style when it comes to the tight ends, having Gronk run those crossers, run those, having him out wide against the corner, run that fade in the end zone. I think they really like that right now with OJ being out. It's a good vertical threat because obviously I think OJ is the best vertical throw on the team, but Gronkowski's really filling in well, and hopefully he can keep it going. So the biggest thing right now is staying healthy, because obviously that's been a huge bugaboo for him in his career. It's one of the reasons he retired, and that's a big thing for him right now. And I mean, he took a shot there on that one catch, but just a really good game, and you can tell they're really starting to heat up.
Yeah, and really quickly, I just wanted to remember it. Good heads-up play from Gronk. He had, I think he caught one of those like play-action crossers that you had talked about. He was headed towards the sideline and kind of like got hit, dove, and then the ball popped out of his hand when he hit the ground and didn't go out of bounds. So it was a live ball just sitting there.
Would love to see a replay, because I could have swore he was out of bounds, but
I
What?
didn't get a good look at the replay. That's about the time my TV
Yeah.
started to really, crap the bed on me.
Yeah, I didn't get a great look at it, but I wanted a different angle because I was like, it did not seem like it seemed like he went out of bounds, or if he went out of the bounds, like I don't know, it definitely seemed like some part of his body had to be out of bounds. The
Right.
way he like landed, and I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, good thing because I mean at that point it was 7-0 Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas gets that ball. This game could have gone very differently.
Yeah, I mean, and that would have put him right almost at the 50-yard line. And yeah, this game could have been much different, like you said, if that's a turnover there. So
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Mike Evans a little bit later. I promise.
let's talk about the bigger elephant in the room.
We got to talk about the newest wide receiver on the team. Listen.
Surreal Grayson.
Antonio Brown signed his contract on Sunday. I've been mulling over it. We did the live call-in show, which, by the way, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, anyone who tuned into that. That was our most viewed thing that we have ever done, ever, as a show.
Hats off to you guys.
22,000 views here on YouTube, so thank you. But since then, I've had a little more time to really think about it. And yeah, obviously, we were still in kind of a state of shock
Rhett,
when we did that call-in show.
Can I guess what this is?
Yeah, go ahead.
You like it.
I don't hate it. I have my things to say.
You're coming around to it already.
No, I'm going to say this. I'm going to preface with this. Antonio Brown is not a guy that I would ever see after a Bucs game and really think to walk up to him and get a picture or an autograph with him. From a non-football standpoint, he's not my favorite person in the world. And like we saw against the Raiders, like you mentioned very briefly at the beginning of the show, do we really need him? No, I don't think so. He has his pros. When we're looking at this from a football standpoint, which is important to remember, from a football standpoint, if Antonio Brown can keep himself in check, which I think Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, and Tom Brady collectively can do a very good job of doing. From a football standpoint, this could be one of the best additions the Bucs have made all season. Obviously, besides Brady, Antonio Brown coming to Tampa Bay. Here's a list of all the pros. Didn't cost the Bucs a lot of money. They got him for damn near the vet minimum, and it's an incentive-based deal based off of performance.
And it's team performance, too, not individual performance.
Exactly.
It's all team.
He returns kicks. I've complained about Jadon Mickens, excuse me.
Hey, he looked all right on Sunday.
He did. He had that nice return. I think he got it up close to the 40 or the 35-yard line, which I'm pretty sure set up a scoring drive. But he returns kicks. I'd like a different punt returner. I don't mind Jadon as a kick returner, but I'd like a different punt returner. He knows the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback, which I just briefly brought up. Played a game with Brady last season. Those guys apparently really bonded because, Brady was pounding the table for
one game.
Yeah, one game and a cup
he
of
also
coffee.
Also has he was teammates with linebackers coach Larry Foote and offensive assistant Antoine Randall L. So and Randall L was a receiver with Brown there too. So lots of support for him here.
Now these next two things, they kind of tie into each other, but he plays all three of the wide receiver positions, and he is a major insurance policy when it comes to that wide receiver room. We're going to talk about Mike Evans in a little bit, I promise you. But Mike Evans is clearly still kind of injured. The times that we really saw him get up and go against the Raiders, he didn't look like he was 100%. They did a good job of game planning and doubling him most of the game, it seemed like.
Every time.
That's why we didn't see Mike Evans. You know what I mean?
That's why Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski and Scotty Moore are all getting one-on-one matchups because somebody had to be doubled.
Exactly. But with all of that being said, I just wanted to lay that out on the table. I prefaced with my personal feelings from a football standpoint. On this football podcast, I'm excited about the move. Are you not?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to list the cons. You listed the pros.
Well, the cons are obviously that Antonio Brown can just turn into a massive shithead at the turn of it's it can happen. But he knows that this is his last chance at the NFL. I really do believe that. People are already ragging the Bucs. Oh, a team wouldn't be stupid enough to try it again. And here they go in a situation where they don't really need him. Bruce came out and said today, you're going to be a team player or you're going to be gone. The tone has been set. He knows what's at stake. And at this rate, a championship is at stake.
Yep.
So why the hell not?
So an interesting thing here. He has a court hearing in December for a sexual misconduct civil case. Um, so depending on how that goes, we'll see if he's available for the playoffs.
Oh man.
But obviously, I mean, Arians has basically said, because I believe Jenna Lane had asked a question on the post-game show, post-game press conference yesterday, that, what would you say? Antonio Brown has been accused of some sexual misconduct, and within organizations and stuff like that. And what would you say to your fans who are women about this move? Who, I would assume a lot of women probably aren't too happy about it, and
Right.
rightfully so. And he basically said that he's going to let the court system do it justice, and that justice will be served. And basically said that he's a fan of second chances, and that basically that if any of it turns out to be true, he said, and I quote, he won't be with us. So it's basically that. If depending on how that case goes in December, he might not even be on the playoff roster. He might be out of the league. So we'll see how long Antonio Brown is a Buccaneer. But for now, he's here, and the pros you listed are exactly the pros. I mean, he can play all three wide receiver spots, and he can play them well.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, you can put Arians, I believe, talked about today. What do you talk about? 4 wide receiver set with Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller outside with Evans and Godwin inside.
Oh
yeah,
my
give
God.
me that. So give me that all day.
A signature
Jesus.
line that I've heard over the past few weeks, especially from you, and I really like it. But dude, in 2017, when we first started this show,
Mhm.
would you have ever thought that at any point in time, not only would Tom Brady
We'd be
the
talking about all
quarterback
these guys.
I mean, would Rob Gronkowski comes out of retirement, Leonard
LaShawn
Fournette,
McCoy.
Ronald Jones
Leonard
playing the way
Fournette.
that he's playing, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown,
The Bucs having a kicker.
the Bucs having a kicker. Oh my God, I am so excited for the game preview show because that weekly checklist, man, it's been a long time coming, but I think this week's the week.
Yeah, I think it is. We're not going to speak of it, but I think it is.
So we're going to talk about the defense here in just a minute. But first, guys, I want to remind you, you might not have noticed, but Halloween is at the end of this week. The holidays are pretty much here. But no need to worry, because your friends at Seattle Shirt Company have got you covered. Jay and his unbelievable team have a selection of NFL and NBA jerseys for everyone on your list this holiday season. The jerseys are 100% authentic, and they've got current superstars like LeBron to all-time legends like Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Walter Payton. Seattle Shirt Company has it all. And right now, for our listeners, we are having a special one-time pre-Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. Everything you buy over at seattleshirt.com is 30% off. So you can head over to seattleshirt.com, enter the code BLEAV, BLEAV, at checkout for 30% off your entire order. And of course, shipping is always free with our friends at the Seattle Shirt Company. Once again, promo code BLEAV for 30% off of your order. Shouts to our buddies, Jay at Seattle Shirt Company. So let's get into this.
That's an awesome discount right there. Maybe
I'm
pick
telling
up,
you, bro,
you could pick up a Scotty Miller jersey.
Oh, there you go. 30% off, man. I don't know. I haven't gone and personally looked at the website just yet, but I have to imagine they got a couple of creamsicles up for digs. It'd be nice if they had some custom ones, but I'd like to see what they have. So,
yeah,
let's talk about this defense. Number 1 in the league. I don't want to hear otherwise. At this rate, best in the league, okay? I mean, statistically ranked best in the league. Number 1 rushing defense, which, by the way, did a damn good job against Josh Jacobs and that running back tandem.
Fantastic job against Josh Jacobs. There was no room to run. There was absolutely no room to run. And some of the rushing yards were accredited a 10-yard scramble from Carr and a 10-yard end around from Ruggs. The Raiders had no room to run. I don't even know why they kept trying it.
Yeah, they were the announce team was commending John Gruden for continually running the football. And they're like, I really like the look that the Raiders are coming out here saying, you know what? We don't care that you're the number one run defense. We're going to run the ball. And
well, when you only get a yard and it's 2nd and 9, good job.
Yeah. Number one in the league against the run. But the defensive identity that we've talked about so many times up until this point, but the identity that this defense has set for themselves for another week in a row, they just force turnovers after making a team one-dimensional. That's it. They're going to blitz the shit out of you, and they're going to force you to make a mistake. And as we've seen, those mistakes usually come at key moments in the football game. This season, they are just so good at capitalizing and making plays. +7 in the turnover differential. This time a year ago, they were -7.
That's a combination of two things, and we know what the two things are. That's an improved defense and a quarterback that doesn't throw that many interceptions, which obviously go hand in hand. So, yeah, I mean, the defense, it's the timing of these turnovers for me. It's just, like I said, I was like, it's perfect timing. And did they play a great game? No. Like, they played better against Green Bay. But I said on the previous show, this Raiders offense is good, and they're going to give the Bucs some fits because they have speed. What did you see on that first drive? Nelson Aguilar killing them with the speed. Levante David was matched up against Nelson Aguilar on that touchdown, and then he was never matched up with him again. You know why? Because that wouldn't have ended well for the Bucs. The Bucs would have given up over 30 plus if they kept Levante David in zone coverage against Nelson Aguilar running a seam route. So. Yeah, I mean, they you said they blitz a lot. The trend I saw, and I tweeted this out, whenever the Bucs were blitzing, that's when the Raiders were going deep. And the Raiders only had that one deep ball to Aguilar.
And you saw Derek Carr make a ton of checks at the line, especially throughout the first quarter. I think that's when he was feeling out the blitz. He'd make an adjustment on the line, and that's when they take a shot.
Yeah, I think the Raiders... It never seemed like the Bucs dominated the Raiders' offense, but I think they played well. Didn't play great, but they played well, and I think they realized that Derek Carr just wasn't gonna win the game by himself. Like, it just wasn't gonna be that way. So they contained Henry Ruggs. He had 2 catches. Nelson Aguilar broke a few. Hunter Renfrow got a few. Whatever. Darren Waller had a touchdown, had a few other yards, but. Whatever. The Raiders, they went down a few offensive linemen, but it didn't really seem to matter, and that's kind of concerning to me that the Bucs in this game really weren't able to get any type of pressure with a 4-man rush. They had 3 sacks, and Devin White got all 3. That's kind of concerning that Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, and obviously I know they're banged up in the middle, but Ndamukong Suh, they can't break through one against the banged up Raiders offensive line, who, I mean, even the starters didn't even practice this week. So That was kind of concerning to me that a lot, especially, in the second and third quarters when the Raiders were trying to stretch the field a little bit, Carr really had some time. And if Drew Brees is back there, or Patrick Mahomes, or even Matt Ryan, or who else? They got Matthew Stafford even coming up. Like, those guys are going to be able to get the ball to somebody. And I think the 4-man pass rush, they definitely have to get there, because you can't just rely on the blitz, to get you sacks. You have to be able to generate pressure with your 4 guys as well. And JPP was basically, to me, non-existent on Sunday. Very disappointed his game, but he'll bounce back. I trust him. So, yeah, I mean, it was a really good game. It felt like once the game, there was a point there where it all felt like the Bears game, kind of. And shout out Jason Light for shutting that down.
Jason Light already crucified one source for saying that, so don't say it too many times here.
Maybe we can get him on the show and he'll drop some knowledge on me.
There you go.
Jason, the invitation's wide open, buddy. So yeah, I mean, there was a point because it was 24-17, and John Gruden, for some reason, our buddy Jay was on here on Thursday on the preview show. What'd he say? John Gruden has been too conservative.
Yeah.
Too conservative. What is he doing? 4th and 2. What does he do instead of go for it? He kicks the field goal, 24-20. Bucs score on the next drive, 31-20. Carr throws a pick the very next play. Game over. It could have been 24-24. And it's a completely different ball game. I mean, the Raiders still, like, even if they get the first down, like, they still could have maybe kicked the field goal, because it's not like it was a 4th and goal situation. But, like, why'd you kick the field goal there? There was, like, 9 minutes in the game left. Like,
right.
You have a shot to tie the game up. I don't get it.
I don't know too much about the head coach situation over in Vegas because I don't watch them every single week.
Well, you know who it is. You know enough. What do you mean?
Oh, absolutely. So it's pretty much a copy and paste of what we said about Arians after the Thursday night game. They showed their ass on that fake punt earlier, and they got it. So why not go for it when the stats are in your favor, dude? Analytics Twitter was losing its mind today, and it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I ripped Arians for it. For kicking that field goal, and they lost the game. Raiders kick the field goal, they lose the game. So, I mean, I just don't know what Gruden was thinking, that to trust his defense. I understand that his defense had played well up to that point because the Bucs only got 3 points in the in the second half before that Godwin touchdown, which was with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So, like, the Raiders were playing better on defense. So I get kind of trusting your defense, but also, like, it's Tom Brady. Like, come on, dude. Like, Gruden, you know darn well who is on that sideline, and you know the firepower they have. You really trust your defense that much? A mistake, and ended up Oakland is now 3 Oakland. Man, I almost went a full show without saying it. Darn it. Vegas is now 3-3.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm glad you caught yourself.
Oh, man, I'm so disappointed.
Dude, it still happens. Like, there was a moment,
but, man,
a couple of minutes ago, I said, like, Vegas, and I had to stop myself from saying Oakland. I promise that it's okay. Nobody's mad at you.
Yeah, I guess. Well, at least I don't call the Chargers San Diego really anymore, so that's good.
I've really gotten out of that phase, which is pretty healthy for me.
So maybe like this time next year we'll be all good on the Vegas Raiders.
There we go. So
sounds nice.
One more thing I want to say about this defense. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Mike Edwards. He had the pick that was negated by a penalty, and then he forced the pick later on in the game. Again, really sucks that he didn't get that pick, but he was pretty damn good in that secondary, and he was the guy that I was watching the most probably throughout the game.
Yeah, it's a shame Shaq Barrett jumped offside. It was close. It was
Shaq. They get Shaq on those all the time.
It was very close, but also if you think about the Green Bay game last week on Edwards' interception, the one that counted. Shaq Barrett almost jumped. It was a close one, but this time they ended up getting him, and it's a shame because I was watching the game with my dad, and I was like, do you think kind of Carr like just kind of threw it because like he knew? And my dad was like, that's kind of quick. And watching the replay, like there's no way he knew. Like there's no way he knew he had a free play. He was throwing that ball and he got punked. So yeah, I think Edwards just made a great play on it, and then obviously he tips the ball right to Antoine Winfield. Good coverage. They lost Carlton Davis in the game. He came back. He played well. I want to talk about one thing on this defense, and it's a negative thing. So I'll talk about one negative thing, one positive. I'll end on the positive one for the defense. Sean Murphy Bunting has been bad. His first 2 games are good. I said he was one of my favorite players from the football team before the season. As a guy, I like him, and he's been bad. There's no secret. It seems like he's lost out there. He seemed to have a strong game against Denver until he had that injury, and then ever since he came back, it hasn't been the same. And it just seems like he's playing a little off and without confidence. Who does that remind you of? That reminds me of the exact same conversation that we were having about Vernon Hargreaves.
Yeah.
Playing off, not knowing, like looking kind of clueless, always throwing his arms up in the air at somebody, and not playing with confidence. That's something, showing flashes, but not playing with confidence. I trust Sean Murphy Bunting. I think he'll be fine. But right now, he's kind of a liability right now. And I think they really have to consider putting Dean and Carlton Davis outside full time, having Antoine Winfield in the nickel, and then Mike Edwards and Jordan Whitehead as the two safeties. I think that's what they need to really consider right now, because either Sean Murphy-Bunting isn't healthy and they're really leading it on to believe that he is healthy, or he's just bad now. And it's a sophomore. It could be a sophomore slump. I mean, he ended the year strong and then started the year strong, but then that injury sort of derailed it. So who knows? Will you have any thoughts on Murphy-Bunting before I go to my quick positive note?
Well, I just wanted to say, you brought up the VH3 comparison, and
not saying he's
no. It's two different situations with two different players. You know what I mean? Your sample size with VH3 was much bigger, so when he was benched, it was long overdue. But I just want to kind of say I don't think Bruce would be scared to bench a guy like SMB for a game or two if he continues this poor play that we've seen. And I mean, no, I don't think the Bucs would bench him and then cut him a week after that. But it wouldn't surprise me if he really just can't get it together. Maybe he sits on the sideline for a game.
Yeah, I think it'd be more to send a message than anything. And then if it works, sorry, bud. I'm sorry. if they go out and let's say it's the Giants and they're doing that, Dean Davis outside, Winfield inside with Edwards and Whitehead, and they completely shut down the Giants. Sorry. So in New Orleans, it's gonna be the same thing. Sorry about that, but I mean, yeah, like I said, he'll be fine. I trust him. I just think it's a slump right now. It's a bad 4 or 5 games, but he needs to pick it up because I mean, right now you're talking about this team as a playoff team, and soon I think you're gonna be talking about him as a Super Bowl contender. If they want to win a Super Bowl, he has to be better. Teams are just gonna pick on him. Teams are now, Daniel Jones and Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater. That's the next 3 quarterbacks they're facing. They're going to look in the film room and say, throw the ball to where Sean Murphy-Bunting is. Throw the ball to where 23 is. Hunter Renfrow gave him fits all game pretty much.
Yeah.
And then obviously, the Giants have some solid receivers, Golden Tate, Slayton, and Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. So they got some solid receivers as well. So Murphy-Bunting is going to have to be better. I don't think he'll get benched this week, but like you said, it wouldn't surprise me if he eventually does. So on a positive note, Devin White, absolute animal. And I think he took this personally because I think this is nice. I didn't think about that. That's good.
That's what I thought I was just thinking of that clip from The Last Dance.
So
personally,
I think, well, here you go. When the Raiders picked Clelin Ferrell 4th overall, I think Devin White wanted to go to that spot. I think that was the place that Devin White would have really liked to have gone.
That's where a lot of mock drafts had him going, and damn well, a rookie out of college, he's reading those.
And Scott Reynolds had said on his, I believe, the game preview for the Vegas game. I almost said Oakland. Said that the Bucs were really nervous that Vegas was going to take Devin White. At the time, they were Oakland though, so
Oh, there you go.
But they were really nervous that they were going to take White, and they ended up not. So White goes the next pick, and I bet just like the Michael Jordan meme. He's sitting there. They picked me. They passed on me at 4. I took that personal because I mean he murdered a man. So I don't know why he didn't come back in handcuffs, but he absolutely killed Derek Carr. So it was funny.
Man.
It's like they after that hit, like they showed the Raiders sideline. It was right where like Carr landed, and you just saw offensive linemen and the receivers. I was like, is Carr legit dead? I was like, where'd he go?
I'm surprised. I mean, with it being that close to the sideline, I'm surprised somebody didn't, take a shove at him.
Did you see? It almost took out Gruden.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, look at try to find a replay of the hit, and when they show the replay from the other angle, it Gruden like backs up. It almost takes him out.
Man, good thing he's still shifty on his feet, coach in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, just a monster game from Devin White. 11 total tackles, 3 sacks, bringing the energy on the defense. That with a hit like that on Carr, I mean, you could see the energy. It was a 4th and 1, I believe. So. Yeah, it's a great game, and hopefully he can build on it. This season's been up and down for him. I think he was definitely better last season so far, his rookie season. Maybe it's a sophomore slump for him, but definitely seemed like he broke out of it, whatever slump it was. So, ending on a positive note on that defense, a really, really good game from their young linebacker.
Absolutely. Two more big things I want to talk about before we wrap this thing up. One of them is Mike Evans, don't worry. But the first one is that running back room, okay? Stat line looks like this. Leonard Fournette, 11 carries for 50 yards, 6 receptions for 47 yards. You love to see that.
That was a difference.
Ronald Jones, 13 carries, 34 yards, and 1 touchdown. Let me just say this. The Raiders' defense primarily game planned for Rojo. And yes, while Ronald Jones didn't run for 100 yards this week, I don't really think it changes anything. I don't think we should overthink this now that Leonard Fournette came back, played a healthy game, and I don't think there's going to be a shift in that room. I think next week, 1st and 10, Tom Brady is going to be handing it to number 27. Kind of expected the rotation. And I think that plays into what Bruce said about, just riding the hot hand. Ronald Jones had that really nasty drop on the screen, so they threw Leonard Fournette in for a little while. That was ugly.
God.
You got to stop throwing Ronald Jones the football.
Buddy, I could have caught that ball. Like, come on, man.
I felt like it was in his hands, and he kind of just bumbled it.
It was so weird. It looked like he literally caught it and then just threw it. Like, what are you
like
doing?
The Arizona game.
I mean, that was even worse than the Arizona game, I think. Because, I mean, I don't know. Like, you're an NFL running back. I understand if you're not a good receiving back, you don't have to be a good receiving back. You have to be able to catch that football. Come on. Like, and rightfully so. You should be benched after a play like that. Come on, dude. Like, you're just it's not. I understand you're not the best catching the football. That's right in your hands. Like, a high school running back could have caught that football. Come on, like, and like, you deserve to be benched after that. You came back in the game, you played all right, but for that instance right there, yeah. And Leonard Fournette receiving the football was a difference. There was a 3rd and 13 there when the Bucs were.
Oh man,
it was 24-20, 3rd and 13. What does Tom Brady do? Dumps it down to Leonard Fournette. Fournette just goes and gets the first down. That basically, I think, won the game for him. Yeah. Also, an unheralded play, Levante David stopping Darrell Waller on 3rd down, which led to the 4th and 2 where Gruden kicked the field goal. Aha! So those were the 2 plays I think that really won them this football game, and were key moments that aren't going to be really talked about. So, yeah, Leonard Fournette was the better running back on Sunday. The better running back for this season has been Ronald Jones. You're right. He's not going to get benched. Like, it'll still be Ronald Jones taking those snaps against 10. The Giants. Yeah, 1st and 10, run up the gut, 2 yards.
Hey, we did say it earlier. I don't want to contradict. We did see a little more of the play action. They got me on 1st and 10. I know for damn sure. I was like, oh my god. And I actually, that was the 1st and 10 that Tom Brady overthrew Gronk early in the game, and we thought it was going to be a longer afternoon than it was.
It was the first play of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's where they got me.
Yeah, you're like, this is going to be a long game. I was sort of thinking that too. I wasn't I missed the first Bucs drive, and I followed along on Twitter, and it said, "Oh, Brady missed a wide open Gronk." I said, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." I said, "Brady's just completely off." Great.
One more thing. We know how the rest of the afternoon turned out. Pretty damn good for Bucs and their fans. But one more thing about this running back room before we talk about Mike Evans. I just want to kind of comment.
You didn't see any of Keyshawn Vaughn, by the way.
Yeah,
I saw none of it.
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't see very much Shady either.
I don't think he was in. I don't remember him being in for an offensive snap. I really don't.
He was dressed, but
I know he was dressed. I know he was dressed, but I don't remember him being in for an offensive snap. I don't know why I said
he was. But I do want to just say this really quickly. I wish we would have seen a little more Leonard Fournette in the 4th quarter. I think he would have picked it up a little bit. But aside from that, that's exactly how you use Leonard Fournette. Ronald Jones not getting benched a little bit earlier than expected because of that drop, sure. But the rotation that we've seen between these guys, when you've got 2 running backs who can clearly produce, just use it to your strengths. Keep them fresh. You saw Ronald Jones come back in the game in the 4th quarter, which was fine. But, it's nice. And I just wanted to comment that they did that perfectly, which we have talked about before. But here is the glaring thing that people are talking about most this week that I wanted to close the show with. What's up with Mike Evans? We didn't see Brady target him too many times. And yes, he is the 2nd leading receiver for season totals on this football team. But 2 big glaring things for me. One, still don't believe he's 100%. We've said
He's
that.
not.
Everybody else has said that. He's not 100%. And two, dude, his time's going to come. Like, the way that this offense is, where you see a different person just have a career game every single week, Mike's going to get his 100, 150. Damn it, I'll say it. He'll get 160-plus yards later on this season. But as of right now, with him being hurt, he's playing through it, yeah. But, I mean, he played decoy against Vegas, and that's exactly what they did. They double-teamed him the whole game.
Yep.
And, it's I don't want to overthink it. We don't overthink things on the show, and that's why we're talking about it right here.
Yeah. So do people know or just want to forget that he has 6 touchdowns,
Yeah.
leader on the team. He has 25 receptions, tied for the leader on the team. 39 targets, leader of the team. And he is only, let's see, what is it? I'm trying to do math. Don't know.
Numbers.
But yeah, he is only, let's say, that's not right. He is only 47 yards. I can't do math. Sorry, guys. He's only 47 yards behind the Bucs leading receiver. You guys are talking about him like freaking.
Like Brady hasn't thrown to him all season.
Yeah, come on, stop it. He's the leader in targets, the tied for the leader in receptions, then the leader in touchdowns. Like, come on, like you guys are just overreaction. And the reason is everybody is used to Mike Evans getting his 1K, and everybody is used to Jameis Winston forcing the ball to Mike Evans. Tom Brady's going to do that, right? Because yes, it has resulted in great plays by Mike Evans, great catches, but it's also resulted in interceptions. So, yeah, Tom Brady right now, it doesn't seem like he trusts Evans enough to go up and grab those 50-50 balls. It doesn't seem like he does enough right now. I think it will come. But right now, the one time I remember is that deep ball against L.A. where he just threw it up and Mike Evans just made that good adjustment. That's really the only time I think he really said, all right, yeah, you're going to go get this. And that fade against Denver, I guess. But, I mean, he'll be fine. And also Mike Evans is mad. No, he's not. Because they're 5-2.
Dude, that's so garbage.
They are 5-2. He has never been 5-2 in his NFL career. He has never made the playoffs. He's only had one winning record in his NFL career. He does not care if he doesn't get a catch. He got 2 catches. Yeah, and everybody's saying, "Oh, he's so mad." Oh, he looked pissed at Tyler Johnson when he caught that touchdown.
No, he didn't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, all you got to do is watch a sliver of Bucs content. I'm pretty sure they posted it on their social media. Mike was one of the first guys to go congratulate Tyler Johnson after
furious.
That play.
He's furious and he's going to demand a trade.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous. And just relax, okay? I understand that a lot of people are attached to Mike Evans because he's been here for a while and he's been like a main point of the offense. He's been sometimes the only point of the offense. But just relax, okay? They're 5-2 and you're complaining about a dude getting 2 catches. He's good. He's going to get his catches. He's going to get more catches. He's going to have more touchdowns. He'll have a game over 100 yards here soon. He dominates the Giants every time. I mean, it'll happen. Relax. Who cares if Mike Evans is getting locked up? If Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, and Scotty Miller are all getting open, who cares? Really, I don't. I don't want players to just get 1K, 1,000 yards on the season with 8 touchdowns and go 6-10. I don't. No thanks. I'd much rather go 12-4 and you get 700 yards and 3 touchdowns, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It's so stupid. And the Raiders were doubling Mike Evans the entire time. Every time the Bucs got in the red zone, they were doubling Mike Evans. Just stop. Really, just stop.
I don't think there's much else I can add after that, but you hit the nail perfectly when you said, a big difference between Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards every year and this season in particular, while me personally, I still think he has plenty of time to get 1,000 yards.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to have some real monster games.
I think he will. I think he will down the stretch. I think with Antonio Brown on the field, you're going to see a different side of Mike Evans.
It'll be interesting to see how he plays against the Giants because two things. One, like I said, he always dominates the Giants, it seems, but the Giants have James Bradbury now, and James Bradbury has historically played really well against Mike Evans. So I have to assume it's going to be Bradbury versus Evans. So it could be another week where we're hearing about, oh my God, it's Mike Evans and this and that. Just stop.
The difference between Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards every year and this year is a 5-2 record. And we'll leave it at that.
If
So
they
Mike
were
Evans,
two, if
just
they were
relax.
2-5, then you could complain.
There you go.
Like, oh my God, they're losing. They're not even targeting their best player. Sure, that they can complain. But if they're winning football games, they just scored 45 points, and you're complaining about a dude getting targets. Get out of here.
Ladies,
and also, he drew 2 pass interference penalties. So don't give me that garbage.
ladies and gentlemen, take a deep breath, relax. Bucs win.
I am.
For the
You
second.
don't have to subtweet me, buddy.
I'm the calmest guy in the room right now. Ladies and gentlemen, take a deep breath and relax. The Buccaneers win for the second week in a row. They are 5-2 in first place in the NFC South. With that being said, that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching on YouTube or checking us out on any of the major podcast outlets. Anywhere you download a podcast, you can check us out there for damn sure. Shout out to our sponsors, betonline.ag, and of course, the Seattle Shirt Company. Make sure you guys go take advantage. SeattleShirt.com, promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 30% off of
Be
your
sure
order.
to take Chiefs minus 19
There you
and
go.
a half.
There you go.
Or take the points. Who
Free
knows?
money. Listen to our show all the way to the end, and you get reminded about free money, ladies and gentlemen. But make sure you follow the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Basically the best place to go for any updates on the show. And, of course, Bucs news as it happens. Speaking of Buccaneer news as it happens, you can follow my co-host on Instagram at Bucs_daily, the #1 place for Buccaneers news on Instagram, with 25,000 followers and climbing. Pretty damn incredible.
It is climbing, yep.
You can also find him on Twitter at EvanNFL, where he yells about Philly sports that nobody cares about and the Bucs every now and again. You can follow him, but he probably won't.
It's been a decent amount of Bucs talk. So
It has. It's been.
Honestly, if you want me honest though, just because the Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers are all doing nothing right now.
It's because none of your other teams are playing right now, so I get it.
Yep.
You can find myself on Instagram and Twitter at Rhettakus, RHETTAKUS. If you follow me, I will follow you back. I think that's it. I think I covered everything, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. All right.
Well, ad lib, huh?
Go do that, folks. Thank you for listening to our show. I am your host, Rhett Matthew, signing off from my co-host, Evan Wanish. We will talk to you Thursday. New Bucs break on Tuesday. See ya.